50 years ago, Oregon enacted a groundbreaking land use system. Planners drew a line around the city of Portland and called it the urban growth boundary. Outside the boundary, development is restricted to preserve agriculture and open space. As a strategy for containing sprawl, the urban growth boundary was a success. But there have been challenges.
There are growing pains, and they were probably, in the case of Measure 37 and Measure 49, long overdue.
Property owners just outside the boundary claimed their land was devalued because its use was restricted.
Whoever drew that line, that's like playing God. All we're trying to do is maximize our value on our property.
In 2004, their frustration led to the passage of Measure 37, which lifted building restrictions for any property owner who could demonstrate a loss. Thousands made claims, including some corporate landowners seeking to build big subdivisions. It looked like the urban growth boundary might become practically meaningless. But with Portland's open spaces now threatened by rapid development, voters were moved to pass Measure 49, which limited Measure 37 claims to just 3 new houses. It was a compromise.
Measure 49 has had a calming influence on the land use wars in Oregon.
Nobody likes the fight, but at the end, the outcome has probably produced better policy.
Today, I think if you ask somebody, has Measure 49 been a success? Is Measure 37 any longer a threat? Most people won't know what you're talking about. The fact that no one is talking about it means that compromise that the voters enacted worked and saved Oregon's rural land use planning program.
Another challenge has been the way the Metro regional government decides when and where to expand the urban growth boundary, a decision with huge consequences.
Both the Metro Council and advocates for growth and development were dissatisfied with the case-by-case decision-making process, where it was sort of like everything's at stake.
The crux of the problem was in Washington County, the economic engine of the region, home to companies like Intel and Nike.
It has the best land for development. It has the best farmland. It's bound to be the place where you're going to have the conflict.
In 2007, the small town of Cornelius petitioned to expand, citing booming job growth and a dwindling supply of land. But Metro, anxious to preserve the surrounding farmland, said no. Meanwhile, on the other side of the city, Metro approved a huge expansion in Damascus, an unincorporated area with rocky soil less suitable for farming. But without jobs or infrastructure in place, the market had no incentive to go to Damascus.
Damascus went through political turmoil, formed a city, the city collapsed, the land use plan was rejected by voters. The experience in Damascus was an impetus for saying, how do we make long-range determinations about what land really needs to be protected as long as possible? And that's what led to urban and rural reserves.
In 2008, Metro introduced a new system of urban and rural reserves to make the process of expanding the UGB more predictable and hopefully more fair. Urban reserves serve as a beacon to the market, pointing to where expansions are most likely, reducing land speculation and allowing communities to prepare for growth. Rural reserves are set aside to remain undeveloped, allowing farmers to make long-term investments with confidence. The new area in need of compromise and problem solving is inside the urban growth boundary.
2 things that Oregonians hate: density and sprawl. Well, okay, when you have 300,000 people moving in every 10 years into your region, there are only 2 ways to accommodate that, either through density or sprawl.
Within the urban growth boundary, 77% of residential land is still zoned for single-family homes. Portland's iconic neighborhoods of bungalows have resisted dense development, contributing to one of the most severe housing shortages in the nation.
The urban growth boundary artificially limits the supply of land. And you limit the supply, and price is going to go up. Maybe that's only part of the equation. That is part of what's happening.
This regional government has harder work to do. We're looking at how we provide for affordable housing.
Planning is not just about drawing lines on a map. It's about who are the people that live between those lines, and are we making their lives better?